gonna do is I'm gonna link elasticity to one aspect of profitability. Elasticity and total revenue. I'm gonna link this to total revenue. Total revenue is not the same thing as profits. In fact, get a little definition. Total revenue is how much money is earned from selling a particular good. Not the same as profit, but how much money you earn from selling a particular good, that's total revenue. Profits will take into consideration the cost of production. This does not take into consideration cost. So total revenue is just price, and you multiply that by quantity. So price times quantity, that's your total revenue. It's not the same thing as profits. I'll give you an example. Suppose we're making desks in this classroom, and we make 5 desks, and we sell them for $3 a pop. What's the total revenue? $15. Now that's not profits, because we said nothing about the cost of production. But how much money we earn from selling those 5 desks at $3 a pop is $15. This is the piece we're going to link to elasticity. Okay? So let's take it one step at a time. Let's start off with case number 1. Here we go. Start with this. And let's start off with demand being elastic. Do that one first. We're going to start off with demand being elastic. Now, let's go through this carefully. Remember, when demand is elastic, consumers are very responsive to price changes. Yeah? Now let's say we lower the price of the good. Go through this. Make the good cheaper. When you lower the price, what's going to happen to the quantity demanded? Go up. Very good. You make it cheaper, you're going to gain customers. No. This is the law of demand. We know this. Make it cheaper, you're going to get more customers. But I said demand was elastic. Are you going to get a little bit more new customers or a whole lot of new customers? A whole lot. So you make the good cheaper, you're going to get more new customers and you're going to get a lot. Let's put it in bracket there. So when demand is elastic and you lower the price, you're going to get a huge influx of new customers busting down the door. Which means, even though you're getting a lower price per unit, because you get so many new customers, this is actually good for you. Your total revenue actually increases. If demand is elastic, offer sales. If demand is elastic from a marketing perspective, whatever your sales promotion is, whatever you're doing in terms of price, you want the price to be lower. Because when it's elastic, you get a lot of people flocking to buy your good, and your total revenue actually goes up. So if you find that the demand is elastic, you want to offer sales, you want to offer discounts. Can we close that? You want to do things that create the perception or actually lower the price if demand is elastic. Well, let's work through the reverse. Let's make the good more expensive. When you make the good more expensive, are you gonna gain customers or lose customers? You're gonna lose them. That's the law of demand. It's never violated. You raise up the price, you're gonna lose customers. Are you gonna lose a lot of customers or only a little bit? A lot. Demand is elastic. You're gonna lose a lot. So even though you're getting a higher price per unit, you have lost so many of your customers that this is actually going to hurt you. The total revenue is actually going to decline. If demand is elastic, you will not get away with a price increase. It's going to hurt. If demand is elastic and you raise up the price, your total revenue is actually going to fall. Anybody here has Netflix? Anybody here used to have Netflix? You don't have it anymore? You used to have it? You don't have it anymore? Why not? You have
Cable.
like Econ. Anybody used to have Netflix, got rid of it, and then you recently went back? Why did you get rid of it?
Because they like raise the price.
Uh-huh.
And then they brought in online streaming. And
So, a couple of years ago, Netflix a couple of years ago is very different from Netflix today. A couple of years ago, the video thing in the mail and the online streaming and the selection was very crappy. They got the bright idea. No, back then, a couple of years ago, highly elastic. You had so many different options. You could get it from that red box. Blockbuster was still around. You could get it online, put that in quotation. But you had a lot of different options. So back then, Netflix was a very different market. They get the bright idea. You know what? We're going to raise up the price. And I remember when they did it. It was a nightmare. They raised up the price on a highly elastic good, and customers were leaving them in droves. Lots of them were leaving. The stock price for Netflix plummeted. Look like this. If I could continue, I would continue. I thought Netflix was done. I said, this is a wrap. They are done. No, there's a little lesson here. It's not an econ lesson. But the CEO for Netflix did something that was a little uncharacteristic. He came and apologized to the customer base. He did a little video and he apologized. He said, you know what? We made a mistake. We didn't listen. And he cried. It was very genuine. I was like, oh my God, this man is crying. He cried. He was really hurt by the decision, and it showed. A lesson here that has nothing to do with econ. In terms of leading, sometimes a little bit of humility goes a long way. And after that, things kind of started to rebound. It's from that. Well, that had nothing to do with econ. The part that they should have listened to is, when demand is elastic, you will not get away with a price increase. It's going to hurt you, and it hurt them hard. Hit them really, really hard. No. Anybody here shops at JCPenney? What? Anybody been to JCPenney lately? I had a student who raised her hand in my other class. I said, did you shop there? She was like, no. I walked through there because it's always empty. She walks through it for the mom to get to work quicker. I remember JCPenney got a new CEO a couple of years ago, and they hired this guy from Apple. Now the Apple product is very different from the JCPenney product. Very different. And they hired him from Apple. They brought him in. And one of the first things he did was, he brought the Apple strategy to JCPenney. No. Clothing, apparel, highly elastic. He comes in, and one of the first things he does, I remember, he says, all of these sales, where you bring in your rewards card, you get the percentage off, no more of it. We're going to try to bring a bit of a boutique feel. You know when you go into the Apple store and it's kind of nice and boutique? We want to do that with JCPenney. Clearly a wrong strategy. It hurt them significantly. That is why people say, JCPenney, what's a penny with a JC? They're feeling it even now. Essentially, when he kind of got rid of those price promotions, when he got rid of those discounts and reward program, he was essentially raising the price. You raise the price and an elastic portion is going to hurt. Macy's. Who shops at Macy's? I love shopping at Macy's. Everything is a sale at Macy's.
Yeah, always.
When I worked in the corporate world, there was a Macy's across the street. And every day they would say, why are you at work so early? I'm like, oh, the reports, not the reports. If you go for the early bird at 6, it's a special 20% off. You go at lunch, 20%, but you wear a blue shirt, 20, I mean, they offer sale for everything. Great. Couple of years ago, she was not the CEO, but they hired a marketing exec of Nike. And she comes in, and one of the first things she does is she says, I want to create a bit of a Nordstrom feel to Macy's. And one of the things with Nordstrom is they don't have a lot of sales. And I remember it was a bit of a nightmare. She was advertising that she was going to get rid of the sales. So it was a big thing, no more sales. I remember I was driving on the freeway and there was a big billboard that said, last great sale. Like they were saying this was the last one, Macy's. I almost drove off the road. But she was advertising this stuff. That this is it, no more. After that, we're gonna kind of have the semi-annual feel and the stock prices plummeted. I think she lasted maybe about 6 months and they got rid of her. Wrong strategy. They did it fast, that's why we're still shopping there with our discounts. But if it is, you think you can get away with a price increase on an elastic good, it's going to hurt. If you have an elastic good, you want to focus more so on getting the prices lower. Now, let's do case number 2. Let's work through that one. Inelastic. Case number 2. We're going to do demand being inelastic, not very responsive to price changes. Now, when you lower the price, what's going to happen to the quantity demanded?
Goes up.
Very good. Remember, the law of demand is never violated. So when you lower the price, you're going to get more customers. That's a given. Here's the thing. Are you going to get a lot of customers or only a little bit?
A little bit.
Only a small amount. Here's your problem. You lower the price on an inelastic good. You think a whole bunch of people will come busting down the door, but that doesn't happen. You only get 1 or 2 new customers. The only problem is everybody's now paying a lower price per unit. If demand is inelastic and you lower the price, it actually hurts you. If you lower the price on an inelastic good, you only get 1 or 2 new customers and your total revenue actually falls. You do not want to offer sales on an inelastic good. So you want to look through all your Black Friday sales for a sale at Apple, keep on looking. It will not be terribly interesting. They know they have a highly inelastic good. Why offer sales? I could charge you $1,200 for the computer, you're still gonna buy it. Why would I say you can pay $500? It doesn't make sense. Highly inelastic, do not lower the price. No. Let's raise up the price. When you raise up the price, are you going to lose customers?
Yep.
Absolutely, that's the law of demand. A lot of them?
Yeah.
Only a little bit of them. Make the good more expensive, you are going to lose customers. The only thing is when demand is inelastic, you only lose 1 or 2 customers. Which means if the demand is inelastic, you can get away with a price premium. Raise up the price, only lose 1 or 2.
So the TR goes up.
Your total revenue actually goes up. If demand is inelastic, you can get away with a price premium. Do you think Netflix can get away with raising the price today?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Netflix today is a little bit different. No, they have a lot of original content. If you want to watch Orange is the New Purple or whatever, gotta watch it on Netflix. They have movies in terms of original content. And they've got you hooked in. You gotta watch this now. highly inelastic, you can get away with that price premium.
So like, that's actually what I was gonna mention, like Netflix, so like, for example, last week I got an email that they're raising it $1 now.
Are you still have it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, is it because it was such a small change that the quantity demand is still gonna be up?
They know now that they can raise the price and get away with it because they kind of have you hooked on these shows. There's not a lot of substitutes available for a lot of the stuff that they have because quite a bit of it is original content. So when it's highly inelastic, usually it's the case where you don't have a lot of substitute, so I can get away with raising the price on you.
And also, like, it's the binge watching aspect of Netflix that you can watch all these TV shows.
Like a whole season, you just sit and watch it.
Yeah. I think it's that, just Netflix is going crazy.
Yeah?
So how does Hulu Plus play into this?
What's that?
How does Hulu Plus play into this?
Oh, I don't know anything about this stuff. What is Hulu,
It's like
whatever?
another streaming
It's
thing.
another like
They have original content too?
Yeah.
Yeah?
But
Like
they have new movies too though.
And a lot of popularity with the original content, because I don't even watch this purple
Yeah.
orange thing. I know about it.
Oh, with Hulu, you don't have to wait for the whole season to be done. It goes like right after the new episode is showed. They air it on Hulu.
Yeah.
One of the pluses
Better.
is commercials, so it's like Netflix, but you don't have to like wait longer.
So if that's the case, they might be able to get away with
But
it.
they actually make you watch commercials.
If it's
Ah.
they have an option.
They have an option.
No,
You don't have
it's
to.
without commercial. You pay extra though.
Oh, you pay extra if you want to get it without the commercial?
Yeah, but you don't have
It's
to
like a
wait
lot.
for the.
That's actually raising up the price a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But
Again, highly inelastic, you can get away with a price premium. Now, I had two students where I did this lesson. This was probably a couple of years ago in this classroom actually. There was one fellow, this was probably a couple of years ago. He took this class and he was an artist. So he sculpted and drew stuff, but he wanted to take an econ class. He said, I want to get the business stuff of things. And when I did this lesson, he came up to me and he said, I'm gonna ask you something. So go ahead. He said, when I do my art, I make my own canvases that I put it on. And I make it out of this special bamboo. I forgot where he got it from. And he was telling me how he makes it and put it on. I was like, yeah. My mind, I'm thinking, I don't really care about this stuff. But he was telling me, and it sounded like a very intricate process. Special bamboo, and it makes your art pop, and it's different. I'm like, okay. And he said, I make it for my own art, but I make so much of it, I also sell it. And he said, I sell it on Craigslist. And what I did was, I went on Craigslist and I looked how much they sell canvases for, and I priced mine like that. But he says, after this, my canvases sound like they're highly inelastic. He said, do you think I could get away with raising the price? You could raise the price, but I don't owe you any money if something happens. I said, you know what, bring some data. Bring some data and let's calculate the elasticity. We calculated it and it was highly inelastic. I said, okay, let's test this. Let's just raise it up by 5%. He goes and he raises it up by 15%. Now the funny thing is, when he does this, he only lost like 1 or 2 customers. Most of the people stayed with him. They said, we get it. Because when we put our art on this, it really does look different. When I do my shows, people talk about the canvases as much as how they talk about the art. He made money. He didn't give me any. He just told me thanks. But highly inelastic, he was able to raise the price. He did tell me, some people say, oh no, I'm not paying 15% more. But most of his customer base stayed with him. Highly inelastic, you can get away with a price premium. There was one other student. Now this student, I'll mention her story because I think she's a little bit smart. What she did was, she worked at a Foot Locker in the mall. So the shoes place inside of the mall. Selling athletic footwear in the mall. Huge mall. Elastic or inelastic, you think? Very elastic. You could buy it all over. Highly elastic. And what she did was, when we did this lesson, she came and showed me and told me what she did. She went in and she got a display table. Now when you go in a store and you see things on the table, what do you think is happening with the goods on the table?
Sale.
You think a sale. So she took a table, put it at the front, she took the shoes off the wall. You know when you go in those stores, the shoes are on the wall, and she put them on the table. The only thing was, and this is where she was smart, she didn't change the price. She created the perception of a sale. I know she would get me, because I would be like, ooh, sale. Go back in. She created the perception of a sale, and she showed me the trend historically in terms of revenue that came in. Week 1, week 2, meaning before, and it was a significant jump. Creating the perception of a sale could actually work too. If consumers think the price is lower, they could react a certain way. Now how do you do this? That's what you're going to learn in your marketing classes. That's how you figure out in terms of appropriate strategies. But that, I never thought of that. She put it there and she never changed the price, and the customers thought it was a sale.
Kind of reminds me of Bed Bath & Beyond. If you look at their prices, they're actually higher than a lot of places, but everything's always on sale. And they send you a gazillion coupons in the mail, so you think you're getting a great deal.
And even with all of that stuff, it probably still is a price premium. That's the marketing edge that you could use overall. So if it's highly elastic and you even create perceptions of sales, those could work.
Is that like Black Friday? They make get on sale? No.
Well, those are actually on sale. That's why people shoot each other and get crazy for dogs. It's at the parking lot, like, I want this dog. So those are actually on. I went to a Black Friday at Walmart one year. Oh God, never again. You want to saw me on the TV, going to help me. I was at the door and they opened it. I swear, I had to be running. Because the people were just on your back, running with TVs and never again. But those are actually on sale, so that's slightly different. Yeah? But this is a very important concept in terms of applying elasticity. In fact, I want to take all of these and show it to you on a graph. So I want to take all of these and I want to graph it out. Draw the graphs the way that I have it. Make sure you stack them. I'll show you a neat little trick that we use in econ. Nice little trick when we stack them. We're basically trying to measure 3 variables in a 2-dimensional space. And what I mean is, we're going to measure quantity here and quantity there. And here I'm going to measure total revenue. Let's get the price quantity. This is the demand curve. Okay. And then right in the middle of your demand curve, you can estimate it. Let's carve out a little area. Estimate the middle. Just carve out a little rectangle. What I'm going to put down here, I'm going to get the total revenue here. So, make the peak kind of sit in the middle that you carved out. So kind of get the peak in there. Just estimate it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Along the demand curve, we have varying degrees of elasticity. So a good is not always elastic or always inelastic. We measure it along price changes. Now how we can carve up this demand curve usually is in the upper portions here. E of D tends to be greater than 1. When E of D is greater than 1, what does that mean? It's elastic. Very good. So upper portions, and here. Now in the middle, that middle that we carved out, it's usually the case that E of D is equal to 1. What is that called?
Unit elasticity.
Very good. Unit elasticity. And in the lower areas, you have the less than 1. And you know this is inelastic. So upper portions, elastic, unit elasticity, inelastic. Now let me show you how to read this. When we're going in this direction, what's happening to price?
Goes down.
It's dropping. If we're going in this direction, price is going down. If price is dropping, when demand is elastic, what should be happening to total revenue? It should be going up. You could read them simultaneously. When the price is dropping in the elastic portion, total revenue is rising. When the price is dropping in the inelastic portion, total revenue is falling. You could flip it around. If we go in this direction, what's happening to price? It's going up. If price is rising in the inelastic portion, total revenue is going up. If price is rising in the elastic portion, total revenue is falling. The reason why we carve this out in the peak right there, or estimated, total revenue is not changing in that unit elasticity portion. That's why we kind of put it in the peak. So that can be summarized very neatly with that graph. Price is moving up and down in certain regions. What happens to total revenue? Okay? Questions?